narrative.
I came home that evening expecting nothing out of the ordinary. The usual routine: drop my keys on the counter, loosen my tie, and maybe collapse on the couch for a few minutes before figuring out dinner. But the moment I walked in, something felt off. She was standing in the kitchen, arms crossed, an expression on her face I couldn't quite place. Not anger, not sadness, something colder. "We need to talk," she said. That phrase never meant anything good. I sighed, bracing myself. "All right." She took a deep breath as if preparing a well-rehearsed speech. Then she dropped the bomb. "You need to earn my affection." For a second, I just stood there, trying to process what I had just heard. "What?" I asked, not because I didn't understand, but because it made no sense. "You heard me," she said, her voice even. "I don't feel the same way I used to. I don't know if it's you or if it's me, but something is missing, and I need to feel that spark again. If you want my affection, you have to earn it." She said it like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. Like she had just set a new house rule, as simple as deciding who would take out the trash. I stared at her, searching for any sign that this was a joke, a test, anything other than what it was. But she didn't waver. "Earn it?" I repeated, my voice sharper now. "Like, how?" She shrugged. "That's up to you." Up to me. So let me get this straight. I was supposed to figure out what she wanted, prove myself worthy, and somehow win her back? As if I was some contestant on a game show, desperate for her approval. I opened my mouth to argue, but I stopped myself. I needed to think. If I reacted out of anger, she'd twist it into something else. So I chose my words carefully. "Is this how you see me now?" I asked. "As someone who has to compete for your attention?" She exhaled, clearly irritated. "I don't know, okay? I just know I don't feel the way I used to, and I don't want to force it. I need something more." I didn't miss the way she said I need. It was never about us. It was about her needs, her feelings, her satisfaction. I thought back to everything I had done for this relationship. The sacrifices, the compromises, the times I put my own wants aside to make things easier for her. And now, suddenly, it wasn't enough? Now I had to prove myself? Something inside me shifted. Before this moment, I might have fallen into the trap. I might have bent over backward, trying to figure out how to win her back. But standing there, watching the detached expression on her face, I saw things clearly for the first time. This wasn't about a rough patch. It wasn't about us. This was a power move. She wanted me to chase her. She wanted me to feel like she was some prize I had to fight for. I didn't say anything right away. I just nodded slowly as if considering her words. But deep inside, I already knew. This conversation wasn't about fixing anything. It was the moment I realized I was done playing by her rules. The first thing I noticed was how comfortable she seemed after dropping that ultimatum on me. She wasn't anxious about my reaction. She didn't seem worried that I might walk away. If anything, there was a quiet confidence in the way she carried herself, like she expected me to fall in line. That was my first clue. I decided not to respond the way she wanted. Instead of chasing, I observed. The first few days were subtle. She made little comments as if testing the waters. "You used to surprise me more," she said one morning over coffee. I nodded but didn't engage. That evening, she scrolled through her phone while sitting across from me on the couch. After a few minutes, she sighed dramatically. "I just want to feel excited again, you know? Like in the beginning." Still, I gave nothing. That's when she started pushing harder. She began comparing me to other men, casually, like it was just part of the conversation. A coworker of mine planned this amazing weekend getaway for his wife. So romantic. I recognized it for what it was: bait. She wanted a reaction. Another time, she mentioned a friend whose boyfriend was always doing little things to make her feel special. I refused to bite. The more I stayed neutral, the more frustrated she became. I could see it in her eyes. She wanted me to prove something. She wanted me to feel like I had to work for her approval. But I wasn't playing that game. Then came the real test. One evening, she got dressed up for a girls' night out. Nothing unusual there. She went out with her friends before. But this time, she lingered in front of the mirror longer than usual, checking herself from different angles, making sure I noticed. When she walked past me to grab her purse, she hesitated. "I don't know what time I'll be back," she said casually. "I might stay out late." She was watching me. She wanted me to react, to ask who she was going with, where she was going, maybe even show a little jealousy. I took a sip of my drink. "Have fun." I saw the flicker of irritation in her expression before she turned away. It was becoming clearer by the day. This wasn't about us or fixing anything. She was testing how much control she had over me, and the more I refused to play along, the more restless she became. I stopped reacting, completely. It wasn't easy at first. Every instinct told me to call her out, to demand answers, to tell her I saw through what she was doing. But I knew that's exactly what she wanted, some kind of emotional outburst, something to confirm that she was still in control of the situation. So I gave her nothing. I went about my days as if nothing had changed. I focused on work, hit the gym more often, even started picking up old hobbies I had neglected over the years. At home I was present, but I wasn't engaged. I wasn't cold. I wasn't hostile. I was just indifferent. And that's when things started shifting. At first she seemed pleased with the silence. She thought I was giving her space to miss me, to appreciate what she was demanding. But as the days stretched on and I still wasn't chasing her, the confidence in her eyes started to waver. One night, while she scrolled through her phone on the couch, she suddenly spoke. "You don't ask me about my day anymore." I shrugged. "You don't seem interested in telling me." She frowned as if she hadn't expected that response. The small test became more obvious. She would purposely talk about how much fun she was having when she went out, making sure to emphasize how free she felt. I'd nod and continue whatever I was doing, not giving her the reaction she was looking for. Then she started dressing up more, even when she wasn't going anywhere special. She'd linger in the doorway when she was leaving, waiting for me to compliment her, to acknowledge her beauty, to give her that validation. But I wouldn't, and that's when the panic started setting in. One evening she came home later than usual. I was in the kitchen, casually making myself a late dinner. She set her purse down a little too loudly as if trying to get my attention. "Did you even notice how late it is?" she asked, her voice sharper than before. I glanced at the clock. "Yeah." She crossed her arms. "And that doesn't bother you?" I took a bite of my food. Should it? I saw the shift happen in real time. The irritation in her eyes, the way she clenched her jaw. This wasn't going the way she planned. She was losing control. She thought she could push me into competing for her, into proving my worth like I was some desperate boyfriend trying to keep her interested. But the moment I stopped playing, the power dynamics changed completely. She wasn't the prize. She was just someone testing my limits, and I had finally decided they wouldn't be tested anymore. The moment she realized I wasn't playing along, everything changed. At first, she tried to ignore it, pretending that my indifference wasn't bothering her, but I could see the cracks forming. The way she glanced at me when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she hesitated before leaving the house, as if expecting me to stop her. The way she suddenly seemed more aware of my absence, even when I was right there. Then she started trying to pull me back in. It started small, little gestures she hadn't done in a long time. One morning she made me coffee, something she used to do before things got bad. She set the cup down in front of me with a casual, "Here, made it how you like it." I thanked her, took a sip, and went back to what I was doing. No big reaction, no acknowledgement that I saw what she was trying to do. Just a simple, polite response. That wasn't enough for her. A few days later, she suggested a movie night. "Like we used to," she added, watching me carefully. I agreed, but didn't make a big deal out of it. We sat together, watched the movie, but I didn't lean into her, didn't reach for her hand, didn't try to turn it into something more. She kept waiting for me to act like I used to take the bait. I never did. That's when the frustration really started to show. One evening, while we were sitting in the living room, she suddenly blurted out, "Do you even care anymore?" I looked up from my phone. "About what?" "About us," she said, crossing her arms. "You've been different." I leaned back in my chair, considering her words. "Different how?" She scoffed. "You know what I mean. You don't." She stopped herself, biting her lip. Then she sighed. You don't act like you used to. You don't even try anymore. I let that sit in the air for a second before responding. Maybe because I realized I shouldn't have to. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I studied her, the tension in her shoulders, the way she was gripping the edge of the couch. It means, I said finally, that I see things differently now. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. She wasn't used to this version of me, the one who wasn't scrambling to meet her expectations, who wasn't constantly trying to prove himself. And she didn't like it. I could tell she was torn. On one hand, she wanted to keep up the act, to maintain the upper hand. But on the other, she was starting to realize something terrifying. She was losing me. And for the first time, she was the one who felt uncertain. She knew it was slipping away. The control, the power, the dynamic she had built where I was the one constantly proving myself. And for the first time, I could see the fear in her eyes. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of losing the version of me that used to chase her. That night, after our conversation in the living room, she became more desperate. It wasn't outright begging. She was too proud for that. But the shift was undeniable. She started being overly affectionate in ways that felt forced. Random hugs, casual touches, little smiles she hadn't given in months. But none of it felt real. It wasn't love. It wasn't genuine effort. It was manipulation disguised as affection. I saw through all of it. One evening, she came into the bedroom while I was getting ready for bed. She hesitated in the doorway before walking over and sitting beside me on the edge of the mattress. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice softer than usual. I set my phone down and nodded. "Sure." She looked down at her hands. "I don't want things to be like this." "Like what?" I asked. She swallowed, then looked up at me. "I feel like you're pulling away." I nodded slowly. "Maybe I am." She flinched at my honesty. "Why?" I took a deep breath, making sure I chose my words carefully. "Because I finally understand what's been happening," I said, "and I'm done playing along." She looked like she wanted to deny it, to argue, to twist the narrative. But I didn't give her the chance. "You put me in a position where I had to fight for something that should have been mutual," I continued. "You made me feel like I had to prove myself over and over just to get the bare minimum from you. And I let it happen because I thought that's what love was." She shook her head. "That's not what I meant to—" "It doesn't matter what you meant," I interrupted. "What matters is what you did. And now you're only trying because you realize I won't keep chasing you." Her eyes welled up with frustration. "That's not fair." I let out a short laugh. "Fair?" I repeated. "Fair was me showing up for this marriage every single day while you kept moving the finish line." She stayed silent. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. "Here's the truth. You wanted control. You wanted me to compete for you, to feel like I had to earn every bit of affection. And for a long time I did. But I'm done." Her face paled. "So that's it?" I met her gaze, and for the first time in this entire ordeal, I felt completely at peace. "That's it," I said. She didn't try to stop me. I expected more resistance, more bargaining, maybe even some attempt to flip the situation back in her favor. But after I told her I was done, she just sat there staring at the floor, as if she were processing something she never thought would happen. Maybe she thought I'd cave at the last minute, that I'd second-guess myself and decide she was worth fighting for. But the truth was, I had already fought enough, and the only person I needed to fight for now was myself. That night I packed a bag. She didn't say anything as she watched me from the doorway. There was no anger, no pleading, just quiet disbelief, as if the realization had finally settled in. I wasn't the one chasing anymore. Before I left, I paused at the door, looking at her one last time. There was a time when I would have given anything to fix things, to hold on to what we had. But now all I felt was relief. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I said. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but no words came. So I walked out, and I didn't look back. The first few days felt strange, not painful, not heartbreaking, just quiet. I thought I would feel lost, like I had abandoned something I was supposed to keep fighting for. But instead I felt lighter, like I had finally put down a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying. I focused on myself. I started spending more time doing things that actually made me happy. Hobbies I had neglected, friendships I had let fade, even simple things like taking a walk without feeling like I had to be somewhere or prove something. For the first time in a long time, I felt like me again. She reached out a few times, not directly asking me to come back, but with messages that were clearly fishing for a reaction. "Hope you're doing okay. I found one of your shirts here. Do you want to pick it up? We should talk." I never responded, not because I was angry or bitter, but because I had no reason to anymore. The chapter was closed, and I wasn't interested in rereading it. And that's the thing about walking away from something toxic. You don't miss the person. You miss the idea of what you thought it could have been. But once you accept that it was never really yours to begin with, you don't feel the need to hold on to it anymore. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't resentful. I was just free. And that was enough. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.